how could Shakur beat him if he can't hurt him? That would be my question.
Listen, you don't have to hurt him, you just have to outscore him. You know, Shakur takes a good shot, though. You know, he's a specialist. That's why some fights that he doesn't look good in, because he's so superior. And it's boring watching sometimes. But he's a specialist. He knows what he's doing. He's hard to beat.
I think it's going to be a great fight. I think that I keep mentioning Mayweather versus Castillo. If you haven't seen that fight, watch that fight. Castillo beat Mayweather with the same style.
You know that. So I'm the best fighter in boxing.
Two skillful fighters, two talented fighters, you know, two fighters that are at a high skill level that will compete in the sweet science.
How you beat Teofimo Lopez? Cause there's a blueprint out to beat Teofimo Lopez. Ain't no blueprint out to beat no damn Shakur Stevenson. Lopez don't know how to beat Shakur Stevenson. Ain't no damn blueprint. But I tell you who got a blueprint on how to beat Lopez. That's Shakur Stevenson. He know how to beat Lopez. Yeah, Lopez don't know how to beat him. Hell no.
Boxing legend delivers shocking predictions as they dissect the Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez fight. Experts debate speed against power, defense against aggression, and ring IQ under pressure.
Teofimo Lopez. That's a good damn fight too. See, that fight is skill for skill, as good as this fight. Yeah. But they just haven't been around long enough to prove themselves yet. But skill for skill, as far as equality, to me, Bud and Canelo are equal because where they're in their career, because how accomplished they are. Yeah. These two guys are also equal where they're in their career, because they're accomplished, but not as accomplished as these two. But they're still equal accomplished. You understand me? So those are two good damn fights and one boxing.
Boxing legends and analysts are divided but passionate about Stevenson versus Lopez.
Ultimate skill fighter versus a boxer who's twitchy, and twitchy sometimes beats out skills. Sometimes that's the side that can really beat a straight up boxer to me. Somebody who's twitchy. You know, because they don't fight, you know, as normally as most boxers fight. They give angles, body movements, bouncing around like a Lomachenko would done, even a Crawford does, you know what I'm saying, moves different angles and so forth. That's why they can beat a lot of boxers. A lot of people are rolling with Shakur, and I understand, because he's dope. But I don't know who's going to show up what day. What Shakur showing up, or what Teo's going to show up. You get what I'm saying?
Nah, you know, we going to always, Shakur going to always be Shakur. The offense that we saw from him in his last fight was just, he knew what he had in front of him.
It does go back and forth. I'm gonna tell you why. Because Teo, what I do is I remove all the negative about what we know about Teo. I remove all of that, and then I look at the fighter. That still is a good fighter. You know what I mean? Strong, fast, you know what I mean? Explosive, unpredictable, and he can hurt you. And every time he's had to step up, he really did step up. You know what I mean? But besides the Cambodia fight, but he stepped up. So I think Shakur. Yeah, my first mind tells me Shakur. And I thought about it, yeah, I'm picking Shakur by decision, but because this is fighting, anything can happen. You can't count Teo.
Former welterweight champ Shawn Porter recently gave Lopez the edge, citing his versatility and adaptability, especially at 140 pounds. Porter believes Lopez now has more avenues to victory over Stevenson's disciplined style.
Pierre said, you know, the twitchiness, that athleticism that Teofimo has is what would give someone like Shakur problems, because it throws off his timing.
Yep.
Shakur is flat out amazing. I've watched this kid. He can find anybody's time.
Right.
So if you give him the space with just like feints and stuff like that, he gonna still pick it up and he's still gonna find it. I got a feeling this thing is not gonna be boring and.
Legendary fighter Tim Bradley boldly declared Stevenson too technical and savvy for Teofimo Lopez. Bradley explicitly said that Shakur has the blueprint to beat Teo and that Lopez doesn't know how to beat Stevenson.
Already know the damn rest. Can somebody please tell me how you beat Shakur Stevenson? Please, somebody tell me how the hell do you beat some damn Shakur Stevenson? I'll wait. How you beat Shakur Stevenson? Can somebody please, on the contrary, please tell me how the hell do you beat Teofimo Lopez? How you beat Teofimo Lopez? Because there's a blueprint out to beat Teofimo Lopez. Ain't no blueprint out to beat no damn Shakur Stevenson. Lopez don't know how to beat Shakur Stevenson. Ain't no damn blueprint. But I tell you who got a blueprint on how to beat Lopez. That's Shakur Stevenson. He know how to beat Lopez. Yeah, Lopez don't know how to beat him. Hell no.
Teddy Atlas praised Shakur's performance against William Zepeda, noting how Stevenson blended aggression with his usual elusiveness, fought effectively both inside and outside, and showed he could control space while still countering well.
Shakur showed aggression in his last fight against Zepeda, being elusive while being aggressive. Walking them down, fighting on the inside, boxing well, still being able to counter, still being able to control space, but also be able to go into tight quarters and not be afraid to show that he's good on the inside too, that he can make you miss and make you pay outside and inside. Shakur showed that. That was great. That was great, and people applaud him. I applaud him. We were sitting there, ringside. I was sitting there actually with your sister, ringside, watching that fight. And it was a terrific performance. Shakur showing that dimension, showing that attitude, showing that competitiveness, showing that dog like people like to show or like to talk about, and they wanted to see and show.
He has highlighted that this upcoming matchup features two extremely athletic and talented fighters, each with contrasting strengths that make the bout compelling to watch. Aoya predict that the Teofimo Lopez versus Shakur Stevenson fight will be a high-level chess match, but one where discipline beats explosiveness. While Teofimo brings speed, power, and athletic unpredictability, Aoya believes those strengths only matter if Teo can sustain pressure for all 12 rounds.
The fight that I'm interested in due to the fact that, depending on who dominates their portion of the fight, that's how that fight will go. I don't think it's going to end in a knockout. I think it's going to go 12 rounds for sure. But it depends on how the first 6 rounds goes, you know what I mean? Because I don't think that Shakur is going to come out and try to fight or take the fight to Teo in the first 6 rounds at all. So if he's fighting off the back foot, if Teo can make it so that he's convincingly, or he's convinced at least Shakur that he may have won 4 of the first 6 rounds, if it's 4-2 in Shakur's mind going into the second half of the fight, or if I'm looking at him stealing those first 6 rounds, then it's an interesting fight going into the tail end, because Teo, to me, is a front runner, right? I want to see if he can carry his energy and his explosiveness late in the fight and not wear down. And then when Shakur starts to open up, can you steal some of those championship rounds from him and make it like a close?
Aoya sees Shakur frustrating Teofimo, making him miss and capitalizing with clean counters and sharp combinations. Teofimo may have moments of success early, especially if he starts fast. But Aoya predicts Shakur's consistency and ring IQ will take over as the fight progresses.
If Teo comes out and does what he usually does, which is try to swarm Shakur early and keep Shakur on the defensive early, then he can try to steal a lot of those early rounds. And if he does that, then Shakur has to fight in the tail end of that fight. And that'll make it real interesting. If I'm looking at the first 3 rounds, first 4 rounds, and Teo looks like he's losing those rounds convincingly, then it's an easy night for Shakur, unanimous decision in my opinion. You know what I mean? Because I don't think Teo is going to bring anything late in the game, to this fight. I think if he is who he's always been, he's going to get gassed after like the 7th round and then take some rounds off. And when he does that, Shakur will open up and start to try to pick him apart, pot shot him, and do things like that. But this is the perfect fight, narrative-wise, for Shakur.
Greg Hackett acknowledges Teofimo Lopez as a serious threat because of his natural physical gifts and fighting instincts. Lopez is fast, powerful, explosive, and unpredictable, which means he can change a fight in an instant or with one punch. Even when he's not boxing perfectly, his athleticism and strength allow him to create danger in exchanges. Hackett emphasizes that Lopez has demonstrated his ability to rise to the challenge against elite competition, showing flashes of greatness when stepping up. Because boxing is inherently unpredictable, Hackett stresses that Lopez can never be completely counted out. Still, despite respecting Lopez's danger, Hackett ultimately favors Shakur Stevenson due to Shakur's consistency, discipline, and ability to control fights over the full distance.
Thoughts sometimes that cross my brain, like, damn, what if Teo catch him like real good though? You know what I mean? And hurt him. Or what if he just out hustling? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a lot of shit that crossed my mind, but I still like Shakur for the dub. I like Shakur for the dub because he knows how to win. Like, he knows how to win. You know what I'm saying? And he's always prepared to win. So, and I think Shakur respects Teo to the point where he gonna train like he's never trained before, because this is a great fight for him. This is probably the best fight of his career up to date. Even though he's been in some great fights, this is probably the best opponent. You know what I mean? And Teo, same for Teo. So when it's like that, when you put Magic and Bird together, it happens. You know what I'm saying? And that's the kind of situation it is. Magic Johnson was nice, but Larry Bird was nice. You put them together, you get a nice game. You know what I mean? So you put these two together, you get a nice twin.
Gary Antwin Russell, an elite junior welterweight contender, calls a fight a true 50-50th, stressing that both Teofimo and Shakur operate with elite-level confidence and skill. He highlights that at this level of boxing, confidence isn't optional. It's a requirement to compete and succeed. Neither fighter is intimidated, and that mental parity is what makes a matchup so even. Gary explains why Teofimo can win. He points to Teo's natural strength, superior athleticism, and solid boxing IQ. These traits give Teofimo a physical and explosive advantage, especially if he applies pressure intelligently. When Teo is disciplined, his power and athletic tools can shift the fight in his favor.
Out in the ring.
It's 50-50. You know, in order for you to participate in this sport, you gotta have a high level of confidence. I feel like both of them has a high level of confidence, Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson, but styles make fights. Naturally, I think Teofimo Lopez is stronger than Shakur. Naturally, I think he has more athleticism than Shakur, and he got a good IQ on the sport itself. But Shakur, I feel like he's a more smarter fighter. He's a more technical fighter. You know, I'm not saying that he's a square or he's just a textbook fighter, but he's seasoned, he's poised. I feel like mentally he's more mature. Like, he don't go outside of the boundaries on taking risks. So a lot of times you'll see him fight somebody that could be stiff competition, and it'll wind up being a born fight to a degree. You know, that's why everybody was criticizing him for, oh, he's a born fighter. He's a careful fighter.